is the Patriots Postgame Show.
First down, touchdown. Dive to the end zone, touchdown, Patriots!
With Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo.
Hand off to Stevenson, runs it left big hole across the 40, cuts left at the 45, and steamrolls the defender there.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email this show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
What kind of energy are we going to have tonight? Well, I'm sure we will bring it both here with Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and me, Hardy, and you on the phones at 855-PATS-500. Welcome in to this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. Patriots suffer their worst loss of the Belichick era, 38-3 to the Cowboys in Dallas. Once again, we've already got the phone lines completely filled, but when somebody drops off, you'll be able to join in, 855-PATS-500. Before we get to the bad, the worst, and the injured, we will, that's not my line.
Yeah,
someone else had that.
Credit one of our listeners.
Yep, whoever came up
on
with
the
that.
Twitter machine.
We will just get initial thoughts from you, Mike Dussault.
It was a disaster. That's about as bad as it can get. I don't know. They didn't really show up. Mac played terrible. And to top it all off, you got a Christian Gonzalez and a Matthew Judon injury that both seem significant. So
supposed to save that for the injured portion.
But those are, well, that's the big, I don't know.
It's it's
hard to stack up losses in the, over this. I mean, usually playoff losses sting, but this one is just, you feel like you have a chance to go 2-2, get your season on track, maybe beat a good team on the road. I felt positive going in, and the exact opposite happened. Exactly what we've seen, fall in a big hole, turnovers. It was just an ugly game, and the fallout should be pretty bad.
That could end up being the story of this game, depending on what those injuries are like for Christian Gonzalez and Matthew Judon. But let's just hope that they're okay, Paul. And if they are, what is the story from this game? Is it just the blowout? Is it just the enormity of the loss?
I mean, I guess if you're trying to look at it something positive, I mean, you can just say, well, it only counts as one loss. I don't think anything else could have gone wrong today. They played a terrible game on all three phases, in my opinion. And as Mike mentioned, you also got a couple of injuries that you have to worry about now. So I think the best that you can say is you got to turn the page and move on. I think this is a disappointing performance. I don't really know how to sugarcoat that.
No.
Just you're outplayed in every facet of the game by a wide margin against what I called before the game a good team. Not a great team, and I still think that.
Yeah, I still think I'm with you. The Cowboys are not a great team. They're a good team, and the problem is, I think my main feeling coming away from this game is that the Patriots were on the verge of being, possibly a good team that's just faced a couple of struggles early on. A loss like this makes you think, last year that was kind of the mantra. It's like, they're not terrible. They're not a bad football team. That type of loss is something that a bad football team does. I'm not ready to call them a bad football team, but man, that type of loss is not suffered by teams that are on the verge of being good.
I think that's a good point, and this is probably what we'll be dancing around all this week of, how much do you want to weigh how much this team wanted to play, how much they were prepared to play, because clearly nobody really played well. Certainly Mac Jones didn't play well. Got lifted. We heard, the broadcasters really putting into question his status as the starting quarterback for the team. And those are external guys having that discussion. I don't know if we'll jump into that fray this week. It's not like Bailey Zappi went in there and looked like he was doing anything great, but I don't want to say you feel like they almost need this loss to happen because you keep we had the caller was like, just don't be mediocre. Well, that wasn't mediocre. That was certainly a terrible loss by a team that just, didn't look like they were ready to play, that they wanted to play, and they got rolled up and down the field pretty much the whole game until Dallas chose to take their starters out. When was the last time we said that about an opponent around here?
All right, let's get to our good, bad, injured list. Here we go.
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
The bad.
Hey, what happened?
And the injured.
You all right, guy?
Good, the bad, and the injured, brought to you by the good players, the bad players, and the injured players, and plays and things that happened in this 38-3 loss to the Cowboys in Dallas. Deuce, I got a few things on the good list, a few things we can point out.
Yeah,
Come on.
Hunter Henry, I thought, made a few catches.
There you go. Atta boy.
Hug a cop.
I said it.
That's all about it.
Kent the Dorfman.
I'll give you the stats. Four receptions for 51 yards, along with 21. So made a couple plays. There weren't many plays tonight, but he had a couple nice grabs. That's one of them on third down. I think he had another third down catch as well. Maybe
the one-hander.
The one-hander. So he always comes up with a couple plays.
That
Yeah,
one.
there it is right there. He always comes up with a couple, and basically a game devoid of anybody making any plays. He made a couple.
I'm sorry, it's Fred the Dorfman.
It is Fred the Dorfman.
My apologies.
I also had Hunter Henry on my very small list of goods in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. There were a couple of times there where I thought, oh, well, maybe now we have the guy that we can identify as identical. We can identify as Mac Jones' go-to guy. Who's his security blanket? Who's his go-to? We had that conversation last week. I know we had it on the Sports Hub because we were sitting around talking about who it is. Is it Kendrick Bourne? Is it really Hunter Henry? I said, excuse me, we get a question here from the dumb in the back. If you have to have a discussion about who your go-to guy is, like on third
You're not
down,
going to him.
then you don't have one.
Yeah.
If it's a discussion as to who the guy is, you don't have a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be a jerk about it. And Hunter Henry tonight, I would say for one positive thing to come out of this game, if Mac Jones has a guy, it's Hunter Henry. That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
Is he the guy, Paul?
Sure. I totally agree with
What does
everything
it
you just-
matter?
No,
absolutely
everything's-
nothing.
Hardy, you know me, I'd love to argue. I do it for sport. I'd love to argue with anything you just said, but if you have to have an in-depth discussion as to who the guy is, you don't have the guy. I agree with everything you just said.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say there were times tonight when I thought, oh, Hunter Henry might be that guy.
Yeah,
That,
and
I
the
would
problem-
I would make the argument for him
Yeah,
above
I
anyone
would too,
else.
but the problem is you can't have a guy be the guy and not have any dynamic nature to his game. It's not Kelsey or Gronk or Kittle as a tight end. I'm not telling you your guy can't be a tight end. It can be. But if that's the case, it's got to be a big play guy. And Hunter Henry is just a solid workman-like tight end.
Yep.
And it's also hard to have him be the guy when you need him back in pass protection and blocking more often than not. Now, I know Gronk did a great job of that, but that was kind of later on, I think, in his career. And, Paul, you've got an encyclopedic memory of things like this. But, the reel that was going around a few weeks ago of Gronkowski and just his blocking, he was fantastic. But I think they kind of moved to that after they said, you know what, they're going to be double teaming him on every play. Why don't we use him in another way and start to, figure out a different way to have him out there and have guys accounting for him. But he's just back there blocking, and other guys are waiting for him to release and get off the ball, and it worked. That's not where you are with Hunter Henry. He's back there because Mac needs more protection.
Yeah, and I think, I've been saying it for 2 years. You always know you're giving up something in the blocking game with him. And, I've always questioned, are you getting enough in the passing game? When you talk about Gronk, one of Gronk's first play in the preseason, he dragged two guys into the end zone. You knew immediately that he was going to make plays that you didn't really expect him to.
Right.
Hunter Henry makes tough catches, but, not really after the whistle or after the catch. He's not going to really turn those into big plays. He's good. I don't want to sit here and bash him. Of everybody, he was
just been that
solid
kind. It was
tonight.
that kind of game that
Yeah.
even the things that you feel good about, you have a hard time with.
Yep.
What else? What goods you got there, Paul?
So I will put Dietrich Wise on my good list. I thought he made a big play in the red zone to sort of flush Dak out of the pocket, and I think Uche ended up with the sack. And then he had a big play later in the game. The defense looking for any possible sign of hope that you can give at all. I thought he made a couple of big plays that he was involved in, but again, we're talking trying really hard to find some positives.
Yeah.
I wrote down PP here for one of my goods. What do you
Paul
think
Perillo?
that was?
Pass protection.
Oh, you know what? It was for Paul Perillo because you said something that I really liked.
Oh.
Has nothing to do with the game, but you mentioned
Am I giving him the key?
the
here?
Patriots accidental offense. I'm like, oh, I'm going to save that and keep that. That was a good phrase. Their accidental offense is their best offense. If you want to give them
their best 2 or 3 plays today were not the way they drew it up.
Okay, which is not a good thing in and of itself, but those plays, okay, that's good. Their best offense is
I had one of them on my good list as well. We can go around. I don't know if are we going to make a second swing around?
I don't need to.
Do you have one, Hardy?
Miles Bryant, the forced fumble.
Okay.
What?
He didn't give up on it.
Great hustle play.
Great hustle.
He made a great play on that ball, and the announcers
it was a great hustle play. Absolutely. I'm not being sarcastic. It was a great hustle play.
Let me finish. They made the point that it's like a lot of guys in that. It's like this game is a 35-point blowout. Why is he rushing down the field? He got forced out of bounds. He got back into the field to play, went down there and made a play on the ball.
Yep, he did. He also didn't make any plays on the receivers he was covering.
Oh, Paul.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
I mean, it's a great hustle play. There's something to be said for that.
Looks like he hurt his wrist, too.
You're down 31-3, and
hard.
you go down and make that play. I agree with you, Hardy. That's a great play. Great hustle play by Bryant.
Kyle Duggar should have made that tackle.
Oh, a lot of people probably should have.
Oh, okay.
But, yes, Duggar lets him get inside him right there.
But watch it. See how he's kind of holding his right hand there?
He punched too hard.
Kind of like James J. Braddock, right before,
Missing in action?
Pop, pop, bang.
No, pop, bang.
Oh.
And that almost cost him a job on the docks.
I thought you were going Chuck Norris there for a second.
All right. Anything else,
Mike?
No, I got no goods.
Let's go. All right.
So I just went, one play, and this was part of my accidental offense. The first down of the game, Demario Douglas gets loose.
Pop.
Mac, sort of flies out of the pocket, floats one. They get a coverage breakdown, and what an unbelievable spin move to pick up extra yards. That's how bad the game was, folks, that you are literally talking about one play.
That resulted in?
Not the way that they drew it up, but watch this right there. Boom. Yeah, I love that. Love that spin, pick up an extra 10 or so.
Yeah.
Would rather have him not fall down. But, yeah, I mean, like that, and that's the part that I mean the accidental part. He got open because they ran into each other. And, by the way, don't discount the fact that you didn't see a ton of Douglas the rest of the game to that, because my guess is they weren't supposed to run into each other, Mike. You know what I mean?
That's probably not in the offensive
right.
playbook.
So Douglas ended up with 2 catches for 45 yards, but that 42-yarder set him up for the first scoring drive. Also, spoiler alert, only scoring drive.
Yeah, I remember watching that play in real time because it just happened during this game, and I can remember back 3 hours.
That's good.
The spin play around there was like, wow, that's really cool. It's also the type of thing I wonder if he's going to get in trouble for. It's like, don't do that.
Too much, yeah.
Don't do that.
Centrifugal force might throw
to
the
try to
ball
break a tackle in the open field? Why would they tell him
spin?
not to do that?
I don't know.
What's the matter with spin?
I don't know. I don't know why he got benched before. I don't know. There are weird things.
No,
happening.
I'm wondering if he ran the wrong route, and that's why him and Parker bang into each other.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. All right.
That's all.
Let's go.
That's all. I got nothing else.
No.
I would like.
That's all.
I wanted to try to put the red zone defense on, but I got to be honest with you, Mike. If we're really going to analyze this game, was it really good red zone defense, or did
they run into each
Pollard
other?
and Dak run into each other when there was a hole they could have driven a truck through on the play?
Yeah.
Which by the way followed a dropped touchdown pass by the tight end, Schoonmaker, your guy that you liked in the draft.
Yeah, I did.
So I'd like to tell you 0 for 3 in the first 3 trips to the red zone, but I'm not really sure the Patriots defense had a ton to do with those stops.
Yeah, I don't know that they did either, and you got to give them credit because, you have to acknowledge it because it was a thing for Dallas, and it was kind of a big deal when they did score in the red zone.
No,
later
that's
on.
why I think it meant a lot to Dallas on the last one.
Yeah.
To get it in, even though it was a meaningless touchdown.
But I mean, we're talking about a game that was so far out of hand. I don't know how much.
Yeah, the nod was given in the second quarter of this one.
Paul did give the nod. I asked for it and I received it.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't tend to make those, especially when it's on the negative side. I don't tend to make that public during the game.
Well, but you had to do what you had to do.
But you asked and I gave it to you, right?
Yep. No, you didn't hesitate. You just I
knew
was like,
it,
Paul, do you think? And you just go.
And I just nodded my head because I had seen this is the game, and there's a lot to be disappointed about. But this is the game that I'm talking about. Like, can you find a way to win a game a different way? So the other team gets the ball first, they go right down and score. You go down and match it, 3-3. Then they go down right down the field and score again. Can you now get in a shootout? The answer emphatically is no.
Nope.
It remains no.
Yep. That was the question we asked before the game. It's the question we have a definitive answer to now. All right, Deuce. What do you got?
Might as well. This is the bads, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to start with Mac.
Yeah.
We got to start with Mac. Just pressing, strip sack for a touchdown, a pick six. He's 12 of 21, 57%, 150 yards. Took one sack. I just, it's just I don't want to act like he was like the sole reason they lost, because I think the whole team was terrible, but I think he was right front and center as the quarterback in that terrible play, and didn't have the ability to bounce back when things didn't start well. Even if you have that, that second possession where you come away and you don't pick up the first downs, and you just you still have an opportunity to stay in there, and it was just things snowballed on him, and he got pulled. And I really am curious what this week's going to look like with Mac, with Zappy, with the questions about the team, and really just what do they do right now? I know as fans right now, it's like everybody sucks, fire, but what do they do as a team right now that's still looking down the barrel at 13 games this season that they have to figure out a way to try to play and be competitive? And how do they get people back behind Mac and this offense or not? I think there's a lot of tough questions that are going to be asked this week, and I really, as much as the Saints look like a beatable team at this point, it's really hard to say I believe in the Patriots. Yeah, coin flip. But even at this point, it's like hard to say. It's hard to look at that team and be like, how are they in a coin flip with any team that has a competent quarterback?
The only thing I would say that I would favor the Patriots about looking forward is the fact that the Saints haven't really been able to score any points. If you put any points on the board, you win against this team. But the one thing, Mike touched on a lot of the stuff with Mac, and just watching the highlights that the boys are putting together right now, the clips. Man, he could have had 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. I think I missed the one that Curse jumped and knocked down. I think that's when we were going up to the clubs.
I saw that
he
on
threw
the
that right in
there.
his hands.
Yep.
And there was another one that what's the Deron? What's the guy who had the 2 touchdowns? Payne. No, that's not Deron Payne. Why do you keep saying that? Who's the guy who had the 2 picks for Dallas?
Fergaturd?
Good.
Bland. Deron Bland. Had he undercut another out to Parker that he got 2 hands on. This could have been even worse for Mac. And one thing that Mike didn't mention, I thought the quarterback sneak was on Mac. When it happened live, I was like, so I've now seen that tush push not work twice, ever. I see every team do it now. I've seen it not work twice, both with the Patriots. He just kind of fell down. No one really even hit him.
He was waiting for the butt push, and no one pushed. Zeke's kind of pushing him.
They're pushing him, but he just goes down.
Yeah. He falls down on his face.
Yeah. So that's not a great effort on the quarterback sneak. They have some, and we're going to get to this, I would imagine, in the next hour when we're finally done with the bad list. But listening to the 2 announcers today, again, I think sometimes it's interesting to hear national perspective. You get outside of your little cocoon inside 128 and listen to what other people are saying. And those announcers were having an honest discussion about whether or not Mac is the guy and whether or not he's the guy right now. Well, I don't know if I've seen a guy get taken out in the third quarter like that. And I'm not surprised that he got taken out. If I were Bill, I would have done it too. I'm not telling you this is a coaching problem. I'm telling you that I think that's rare to be that early in the game and make that move.
Well, and you speak to why, because
same mistakes over and over again. The pick 6, Mike, is a pass that he's made about a dozen times. And I know some people are like, oh, now we got to listen to, I had a couple of tweets. This is the pass that PFW Paul always says. Mm-hmm. Well, it is. He does not have the arm strength to roll one way and throw it the other. He got away with one earlier on a 3rd and 16 or something like that, right before the failed quarterback sneak to Bourne, and it was bobbled, it was low, it was a turnover waiting to happen, right? And then he does it again the next series, and look what happens. That for all intents, I think the game was already over at this point, but that ended the game definitively.
It's even more crazy just watching it on the ISO cam because you see he's just
just
running
sitting
a
there.
hitch. And if you're going to throw a hitch, you got to throw it like right as he's coming back to the ball.
But how do you not, if you're Mac and you're rolling out to the far numbers, okay? So watch, he gets outside the tackle box. He's sitting right there. How do you not see him?
I don't know.
Like the guy you're throwing the ball to is being covered by somebody who's standing right next to him. And you're going to throw the ball 40 yards across the field and not think he's going to close on it? And again, it'd be one thing if, it was just one of those games. Mac made some bad decisions. I've seen him make that particular bad decision many, many times.
What do we call that? An
error repeater. A phrase that I cannot say quickly, but error repeater.
Recidivist. Repeat offender.
So I think Mike putting Mac at the top of the bad list. I mean, it's just
we'll
probably get blowback from it because we always do. But
you guys are too negative.
I don't know how you cannot. Like this is the one he completed, and you can see all the trouble that was around that pass.
Yeah. And for the record, we are outside 128 here in Foxborough. I think you might want to go like 495.
Okay.
You're talking about the cocoon?
You want me to amend that?
Yeah, a little
my
bit.
cocoon of terror.
Yeah.
As Mike Tyson would say.
So we start with Mac. It doesn't have to be necessarily most important, but
but that's. I think Mike was right to put him at the top of the bad
I think
list.
so. Also.
And I also made a comment before the game of I've not seen the Patriots win a game because of Mac, and I've also not seen them lose one because of him. Well, I think you can cross the lat because that was as much responsible as the loss
18
as
points.
anything.
I think 18 points was what he was responsible to. 2 touchdowns and a field goal with a 2-point.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of points. Okay.
What do you got, Hardy?
The penalties, they certainly didn't impact the game, but, Onwenu had how many that we
3.
Yeah, I mean, it's sloppy on top of bad execution. If you're going to do both, you're not going to be bad teams if you're unable to execute. And then if you're having penalties at other times, well, forget it. There are times today watching that game and like, well, they're not even really trying or even showing up at this point when you have multiple penalties on the same guy. You have to factor that in, but I would just say the sloppiness and Onwenu is kind of the poster child for that based on his 3 penalties today.
Especially where you're talking about an offensive line that's had so many questions and injury issues. He came off the injury report. You'd think he's healthy and you would, I'm saying to myself, we need this guy. We need this guy to lead the way at the interior of the line. We need his big, blocking presence that he's had. He's a big brute. I thought he'd provide a big, a big boost to the offense. And really, so far, it's just negligible returns so far. And then the penalties are, sending you in the wrong direction. So I agree. It's, when you've already got 2 starters out. I mean, I guess you could call the right tackle still a starter, but you got a left guard starter out. You need him you're counting on him. He's in a contract year. You need him to be one of your leaders on the team and just was leading in the wrong direction.
All right, what do you got, Paul?
So I'm going to put the coaching staff on my list too because this is the 3rd time in 4 games that the Patriots were completely unprepared to start a game. Mm-hmm. And the game got out of hand quickly, and that to me is at least partly due to the fact that you didn't have a game plan that was effective. We often give credit for game planning when it works the way the Patriots want it to. So Dallas, who hasn't been great offensively through the first 3 weeks of the season, took the ball, went 10 plays, 70 yards, field goal. Then they took it and went 10 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown. Those are your first 2 drives defensively. They just weren't ready to go. They weren't ready to play at the start of the game. Yep. And, I'll put it on the players, I put it on the coaches, but what I wrote down was not ready.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
I agree 100%. I think Tommy Curran, I saw him tweet out just other than that last Jets game, the list of like the last 10 games of the points hole that they just find themselves in immediately in every game. And I'm sorry, no team can play that way. I don't care if you have every number 1 receiver in the book. Like, you cannot start games and consistently be in a double-digit hole,
right?
Not only because it's hard to climb out of, but just because psychologically, I'm sure us as fans and people watching the game were feeling the same way, where it's like, here we go again. Look at that. We blink our eyes at the start of the game, and it's 10-3, and all of a sudden 18-3. It's no way to play. I'm not sure why the defense is so mercurial. It's either, oh my God, Zach Wilson is just cannot even do anything. And then we get to this Dallas offense, which we had plenty of conversation about the Dallas offense this week. And they're all right. They didn't really do much. They don't want to go down the field. I mean, they had their way with this Patriots defense.
And that's part of what I'm talking about with not being ready.
Yeah.
Like everybody said, it's a high school offense. They just want to run the ball. Well, they didn't come out and run the ball.
And everybody who said that the Patriots have a shot at winning this game, which who out of us picked the?
I think it was Mike Dussault.
Okay,
There's only one of us had the game.
All right, I'm not picking on you, Mike.
Oh, I don't get picked
because you've already sat here and talked about it and admitted it. It wasn't just Mac. It wasn't just this one thing. It was an overall collective failure, and a big part of that is coaching and game planning and not being ready for a team that I was told wasn't great. Good, you get a chance to beat a good team here, but you've got a real chance, to the point where there were a lot of people picking the Patriots to win this game outright, not to cover, but to win. How did they not only not win, but suffer the worst loss in the Belichick era? Then everybody gets the blame.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, the offense, Bill O'Brien, Bill Belichick, special teams, defense, everybody. You don't have a result like that without everybody being on the hook for a game that you were saying, again, not you, Mike, but just the collective you were saying the Patriots had a real chance at winning.
And I would say, I kind of thought it would at least be close. I just thought, all right, they're kind of putting some things together. I always felt like, I always used to say, even when the Patriots get soundly beaten, they never get blown out. Like that, you'd look at the scoreboard and you'd say, geez, it looks like they lost by 8 points. But, you knew really they didn't have a chance.
Miami.
But somehow it was always that close, right? But this game, this was a blowout. This is what it was. I mean, there's no other real word to use other than they got blown out in Dallas, and everybody's got a piece in it.
All right, what else we got?
Let me throw. I mean, it's kind of like
Go ahead, Mike.
beating a dead horse, but Juju. I mean, 5 targets, 1 catch, 14 yards. Again, looking for him in a couple key situations, and he's just. I mean, he's not effective. He's certainly not a needle mover, and that's what I think you were hoping you were going to get with him, was a needle mover, and they continue to target him like he's a needle mover, but it's just the disconnect kind of continues, and he doesn't really. I mean, you're seeing it here. That's it's like a desperation grab. Like nothing is smooth and in rhythm. And this is the Juju Smith-Schuster we thought we were getting, where he catches a little slant, breaks a tackle, and goes for 15 yards. Like that's nowhere to be found.
No,
he's completely ineffective. And
what you just described has nothing to do with him. Not now. Not where he is health wise on this team, in this offense, at his whatever it is. Nope, that's not him. It's not it.
And I mean, yeah, sorry.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
That's all.
Paul?
Yeah, I also had special teams. Again, I thought were a little sloppy. They had a penalty on a hold on Joe Cardona. They fall for a 2-point fake because they tipped their look with 11 men up, and Greg Olson was saying this is the formation you have when the game's on the line, not in the middle of the second quarter. So they were unprepared for that. They gave up a pretty good punt return to Turpin on one of them. I think it was like 10 or 12 yards. Just some more room. They got nothing out of their return game. So I just thought it was add another poop to the poop sandwich.
As we're watching this here, though, I mean, is anything of that have to do with Schooler? Like any of the Schooler, tomfoolery that they were playing with? Like I know what Greg Olson said. But I'm seeing now, realizing that Schooler comes crashing in.
I saw it. Yeah,
and it seems like, hey, we'll just slip somebody out the side and let him.
Right.
I
think this is again. There was a time when the Patriots were the only team that received coaching, and it happened to coincide when Tom Brady was the quarterback, but be that as it may. This is a team using the Patriots' aggressiveness on special teams against them. This is something that I'm sure that they worked on during the course of the week. If we get this look, if he wants to line up wide like he did against Miami, this is we're going to check to
the edge
this.
of the defense. And
because there's no way he can run full speed from the outside in and cover a guy. And this is just easy right here. This is a number 99 is catching this in space and running into the end. There's nobody there.
See, that's what kind of hurts about it, Paul, is for that play from a couple weeks ago when they pulled that with Schooler, we were all like, wow.
It was. I don't think any less of that play.
No,
that play was brilliant.
And I'm not going to say that, but for a moment you said, hey, where have these plays been? Where have been the times where we come up with something unique? And, felt like it used to happen a lot. And then 2 games later to find suddenly somebody kind of takes that and says, oh, you're so smart. How about we do this to you? And then you kind of fall on your face because of it. I'm not used to it. Not like it used to be.
I am. Because this has been 3 years of special teams play that's been suspect.
I want to give everybody a chance to get their frustrations out here. Is there anything else that you're dying to get out in terms of things that won't be mentioned throughout the rest of this episode here on the bad list?
I think the biggest thing on my head right now, in my mind right now, is this team bought in, and are they still going to follow this particular staff and setup and everything?
Thing.
Are they still? Are these guys still bought in? That's the question I have.
It's a good question to ask. Injuries, we mentioned them at the top, but Christian Gonzalez left and did not return. Matthew Judon also, no reports.
I saw someone said elbow, and that's what they said for Aquale, and I thought that looked like it could be a torn bicep the way his arm came back, and I think they originally announced Aquale as an elbow.
Okay.
So I think Mike said it right. They look like they potentially could have been serious injuries. And then Peppers, I don't think ever came back in the game either.
It's like, hey, who are your 3 favorite players this year to watch, Mike? I don't know. Gonzalez, Judon, and Peppers. Like, boom, gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Great.
So this was just bad. I mean,
no,
we could put literally every player who played in the game on the bad list, but it was just a total system breakdown. In some ways, I guess you could look at it and say, well, if you're going to lose, like maybe sometimes it's better to not have that last catch that Booty doesn't make against Philly, or getting the replay overturned on the the lateral against Miami. Well,
that's what
this game there was no what ifs,
and that's why it's like I get back to is bottoming out good, is like being able to say this is the worst loss of this era. Now it's happened. Like is that good? Does that or is that? Is it not good? And this is now going to be like, hey, we're not buying what you guys are selling anymore. And this is a team that's going to all start, as Evan likes to say, drop the rope, or, start pulling in separate directions, trying to do their own thing, consulting outside people to how to fix it, that kind of stuff.
All right, let's get to
who's the girl with Taylor Swift that just arrived at the game? I'm interested in her.
Stop the press. Who is that?
Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale. I like Batman.
Hey now.
Oh yeah.
To the phones, 855-PATS-500. We'll start with Spee in Fresno, but actually is in New York. Must be going to that Taylor Swift concert with the football game going on in the middle of it. What's going on there, Spee?
Not even close. I'm in upstate New York in Saratoga Springs. If anybody's out there wanting a shot at Desperate Annie's, let's do it.
You going to SPAC?
All right.
Go to SPAC.
Right. Wow, what an anemic team. That was terrible. I've been very not anti-Mac, but like a doubter since the end of his rookie year, and think he's not probably your franchise quarterback. But I'm not trying to be an apologist right now, but it seemed like the worst case scenario where you had kind of like a combination of maybe he's not the guy and he had a bad day. It was kind of the worst case scenario for him. So I'm not trying to be sympathetic exactly, but it seemed like worse than what you maybe would expect to get from him on an average day. I don't know if that necessarily says much, but I'm trying to be a little sympathetic to the guy. I wanted to ask you guys though, like yes or no. Just and I'll hop off. Do you think that the Patriots can come back to be a bubble team, like on the verge of the playoffs, or are we off the rails? I'll leave it there.
I mean, you're asking after that game, after that performance.
You could take this a number of different ways. I don't really think anything has changed.
No.
I think exactly of the team. I mean, I didn't expect them to lose 38-3. I picked 27-17. I didn't think they would have a chance to win today. I think I said that Thursday. I don't envision them having a chance to win. But 1-3, they're fortunate to be 1-3. I'm sorry, they are. That's just the facts. If Aaron Rodgers played, you're likely 0-4, and then it's over. At 1-3, I think it's pretty close to being over. The one thing that I'll hold out for the Patriots is there are some very well-placed injuries around the AFC. I think Cincinnati is also 1-3, and they're in shambles with their quarterback situation. I think they lost T. Higgins today to some broken ribs. That's a team that I envisioned being a lock playoff team. They're certainly at 1-3. They're no lock for the playoffs. So, you look around and you see some of these teams sort of struggling to find ways to get wins. Cleveland, I think, was a team on the rise. They lost a game today because their quarterback couldn't play. Deshaun Watson had to sit out. They had no offense. So that, to me, is part of the Patriots equation. If they can get a couple of wins under their belt, then maybe we can start talking about that. But we're a couple of weeks away from that. You got to win. You got to beat New Orleans, and then you got to follow that up with a win at the Raiders. Minimum. I'm not telling you that gets you back in the playoffs. I'm telling you have to win those 2 games if you have any sniff. Because then you have Buffalo and Miami after that.
Well, 2 things. You might have just lost your three best defensive players. So that's an impact that, I guess they can still get into that, 7, 8, 9. But I think we all kind of talk about 6 being the floor. The way you get to the floor or below the floor is if guys stop buying in. And that, I think, is, with a loss like this is something to me that this could have potentially changed things, in the outlook of the season.
I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm trying to answer the question as honestly as I can, and I'll say this. Even removing today's loss, because you could say, like Paul said, I didn't expect them to win, but I also don't think that's indicative of how Mac Jones can play and how this team can operate. That's seeing them at their low water mark.
Listen, yes, that was the low water mark. I agree, but that's kind of the way Mac Jones looks against good teams. So, I'm sorry.
Well, this is to my point.
This was the worst.
You can talk yourself into a record that has a chance of sniffing the playoffs after 7 or 8 games. The problem is nothing about the way they've played through these first 4 games looks to me like a team that is suited for the playoffs or suited for a record good enough to make the playoffs.
I agree. And when I say
that's all it is. They don't look like a playoff football team.
No, I agree. And when I say that this is what Mac Jones has looked like, what I'm talking about is the game that counted, the part of the game, like when you fall down 16-0 and you generate punt, turnover, punt. Like I think it was pick, fumble, punt in opening weekend. And you're down 16-0.
Yep.
The only difference is in those 2 games at home, you were able to put up some plastic yards in the second half and get yourself back in the game. And you were on the road today and you weren't able to do that. Like, he was worse today than he was against Philly and Miami. Yeah. But the fact is, his play was at least a big part of the reason why you fell behind big against Philly and Miami.
Yeah.
Less so Miami than Philly, but he does not generate points at the beginning of these games.
Just quick update, rap sheet. Patriots pass rusher Matthew Judon is being evaluated for a biceps tendon injury. Sources say he's getting an MRI to determine the severity. Either way, he's expected to miss some time.
Yeah, okay. I hate to be right, but that's what they said with Aquale.
Yeah. No,
they called it an elbow, and it was a torn biceps. That looked like a torn biceps to me. Hopefully, it's not completely torn, and he maybe goes on IR and can come back.
Unfortunately, good call by you. I hate this game of looking at the games they have coming up, trying to figure out if the record is going to be good enough to give them an outside chance at the playoffs. It's like, you got to win. Let me ask you, do the Broncos look like a team that can, figure things out and make the playoffs? Well, they've got 1 win, like you, and they scored 31 points in their win.
Yeah, and that's like
31 points.
Fewer points in each game. They're going downhill.
And you take all the point. Sorry.
Okay, no, you're right. I think your point about the other teams, and at least they like Washington. Washington's in like the 30s every week.
Yes.
Denver they're 1-3, but they're losing shit. They lost 35-33.
Yeah. Wow.
If they get 33, that's probably not going to be a loss.
It's like, the Jets have this great defense. Are they going to be in the playoffs? No.
No.
Why not?
Because they can't score.
Hello,
McFly.
You have no offense either.
That's an excellent point.
You have no offense.
Yeah. No, look, like I said, I don't know how you come out of that game and not think that they're a bottom 5 team in the league right now based on how they play. It doesn't mean that they are a bottom 5 team, but right now they're a bottom 5 team.
And I'm watching the highlights on NBC now, and I know.
Say that again.
It doesn't mean that they
both
are
slower and
but
faster.
Right now they are.
Yeah. Wow. All right, back to the phones. Good times, great oldies.
But I love your point about, and you made that point during the course of the game too, Hardy, about watching these other teams, and those are the wins. The ones that, and I'm not putting all of the media, all of our local media, but there is a portion of our local media that is pointing to the quote unquote soft part of the schedule, which I contend does not exist this year, because in the last couple of years they've had a very tough start to the schedule, and then there's like 7 or 8 games where 6 of them are against teams that you feel pretty good about. They play the Saints, then they play the Raiders, and then it's Buffalo and Miami. That's not a soft spot. That's not a soft spot in the schedule. No. I'm sorry, right now, I don't know how you can have much faith of beating Buffalo at home and going to Miami and winning the way those two teams are playing and the way you're playing.
I can't even make an argument for it.
So you're telling me the best you're going to be after 8 is 3-5? Best you're going to be? To Hardy's point, that doesn't look like a playoff team.
No.
They don't look like a playoff
I feel
team.
Like we're kidding ourselves with that conversation.
Now, there's a lot of listen, things can change. We've seen things change quickly. They were 2-4 in Mac's rookie year, and then they rattled off 7 wins in a row. And if you had told me before that stretch happened that they were going to do that, I would have said no, even if I knew all of the personnel that wasn't going to play for the other teams. Yeah. I would say they're not going to win. They're not good enough to win 7 in a row against anybody. And they did.
Who knows? I can't stop thinking about Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones, Matthew Judon, Jabril Peppers, and because any route to even considering a playoff push or even to approach 7-8 wins, it has to start with the defense playing really well.
You have to keep the score under 20.
Yeah, there isn't a route without Matthew Judon. And I said it all off season too. You lose Matthew Judon, what happens? No offense to Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, they're nice players in their specific roles, but if Judon's out, you're losing your best pass rusher. They don't have to give him any attention. They can put any attention where they want now. They want to, put 2 guys on Uche, but even just trying to imagine how they're going to get around those potential injuries and just what bodies are going to replace those star players. The drop off is significant, and that immediately is not a defense that I feel like is going to be one of the best in football. It's going to be one that's just trying to get by because they're so banged up at key positions.
Patty in Agawam. What's going on, Pat?
What's up, everyone?
How we doing?
Well, not the Patriots.
All right. I'm not ready to jump off the bridge yet, but Hardy, I'll butter you up and hope you let me rant for a little bit. Good win on Thursday for your Lions.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. They were favored. They went into Green Bay and took care of business. I'm going to the game next week, and right now, at this point, the only thing I'm looking forward to is tailgating, taking some good food, drinking some beers, having a good time before the game.
Yeah, I'm going to get to tailgate next week, too.
What?
Bill's got to go.
Going to a homecoming game on Saturday.
That's not okay.
That he constructed. This is his mess, and I'll tell you what. After you guys know, I've been pro Mac. I've seen enough of him. He's not good. He's not bad. I don't think he's bad, but he's not good either. Somewhere in between.
He's a bottom 5 quarterback in the. I'm not saying he is, but right now he is.
Is that what
he's
you
a
said,
bottom
Mike?
5 quarterback in the league? No,
I thought you said they were a bottom 5 team.
No, I'm just applying the. I'm applying the Dussault
but right now he is
to Mac Jones.
I'm right there with you, Hardy. He is. He's a bottom 5 quarterback. You just look at what the mess that this team has become. We created a hole last year at offensive guard by trading away Mason, letting Ted Karras walk, and drafting a subdivision guard in the first round. We have 3 good offensive players, in my opinion. We have Hunter Henry, we have David Andrews, and Kendrick. And that's about it. And we're not winning anything with that squad. I'm sorry.
Did you just call Kendrick Bourne?
I hope they'll be back to start next week, and we get some of the young guys in there and just see what they can do. Because to me, like you said, Paul, there is no easy stretch. You can't pencil this team. I know a couple of years ago we were saying you can't pencil this team in for anyone. Not this year either.
Yeah.
Not happening. They'll be lucky to win 3 more games. That's all I got.
All right, Pat. Thanks.
Watching Aaron Rodgers
and map on that one.
Watching Aaron Rodgers and his crutches hug Zach Wilson just made me feel a tiny bit better because
teammates.
Hey man.
So imagine how much worse you could feel if the Jets went out and beat Kansas City then.
Oh, come on.
Don't tease me, Paul. Maybe.
Yeah, I just don't like to Deuce's point though.
They're going to play the game. They say any given Sunday. I don't know. Hardy. You just gave me reason to watch. You completely lost my train of
I think you were going to say something about me making a great point.
Yeah, you made a good point.
Hey,
I wanted to sort of readdress that. But
hey, you think you feel bad now? Let me plant this kernel up in your noodle.
What if they roll?
What if the Jets beat the Chiefs tonight?
I only said it because they just showed that clip of all the Jets going in and seeing Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I don't know what the point was. The injury point. To Mike's point about it's not just like you lost a couple of guys to an injury. First of all, they look like significant injuries that are going to keep them out at least for a few weeks. What do you do in the secondary? One of my buddies,
Sean Wade and Miles Bryant starting next week.
I'm gonna give my buddy Scott a shout out here because I know he's listening. He just sends me good. Can you guys address why Belichick put Bryant on Lamb? Who would you have suggested he put Sean Wade? Sean Wade looks like a dog in tall grass trying to run it.
You got to pull Ty Law from a vodka tasting party.
Without Jonathan Jones, without Jack Jones, and then you lose Gonzalez, who's been by far your best member of the secondary. I don't know what you can't ask safety to cover Lamb. And by the way, I give Dallas all the credit in the world. They didn't just go into this game and say we're just going to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb 15 times today. That's good.
Nope.
That's usually good enough for us. Dak was really good at spreading the ball around. I thought he missed a couple of open guys. Got caught with the pressure, like that fourth down that Wise got the sack. He had Ferguson wide open over the middle. I don't know how he missed him, but your boy Turd Ferguson had what did he have? He had 7 or 8 catches, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So 7 catches for 77 yards on 7 targets. Gallup 5 for 60. Someone told me this week that Gallup's been a non-factor, even though he had 7 for 92 last week. And Lamb is down with 4. Even my boy Mount Cooks, 4 catches, 4 targets.
Right.
Efficient. All of his catches, they have no yardage, 27 yards, but all of his catches set up 2nd and 3. Drive starters.
Keep the chains moving.
I thought Dak did a good job of spreading the ball around, but I also think it was kind of easy because the Patriots really didn't have any. This is the throw right. No, that's not the throw I was thinking of. On the first drive, the throw to Gallup. This is before Gonzalez got hurt. This is part of they weren't ready. That throw and catch was just complete breakdown.
I caught 2 on that first one of the first plays. They
just
sit
right
ran.
here. Look, nobody on him.
Yeah. Another one was I think one of the first third downs they faced on defense on that drive, and Mills given the Olay. I think it was an early sign that weren't swarming to the ball. You just had that feeling against the Jets. The defense came to play, and it's 3rd and 7. They throw 5-yard pass, and he come up and he misses it. Yeah, this is it. Goodbye.
Oh, bad miss. Yeah.
And that's a guy, by the way, that doesn't make a lot of guys miss.
Oh, Swifty's in the building.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, they're all excited. All right, Tommy in New Jersey, are you excited?
Tommy.
What's up? Hey, Tommy.
Freddie, Tommy. Everybody's here.
Freddie, Billy, Mike, Tommy.
Yeah, it's me. It's Tom Brady. God, I wish.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the air tonight. Couple points I wanted to go with tonight after the brutal loss we all just witnessed. Do you think in hindsight, and of course this is probably going to be an easy question to answer, do y'all think Bill should have embraced the youth movement more in the 21 free agency with Mac's first year rather than maybe spending all that money on vets? Do you think they should have focused a lot more on the draft? And also the other point I want to make is, of course, Brady's an all-time great, but outside of Brady, Belichick kind of goes with these limped arm quarterbacks. We saw it with Matt Castle. We saw it with Garoppolo, and now we're seeing it again with Mac. And I just wonder what his thought process is on drafting these guys, because Brady always said, his arm's not that great, but he had probably a top 5 NFL arm of all time when it came to accuracy and power.
Brady's arm was better than it was given credit for coming out, but I wouldn't say he had one of the top 5 arms in terms of power.
No, he didn't have a big arm. I mean, he
had a much bigger arm than Mac Jones, I'll say that.
Yeah, he had
zip on. Go back and watch that loss to the Giants and watch him throw that ball to Randy Moss. That ball was 80 yards down the field.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know if a lot of guys can see that throw.
But it's not first of all, arm strength has nothing to do with how far you can throw the ball. It's how hard you can throw it. And that's what Mac Jones' problem is. And that's why he got to stop throwing the ball across the field,
right?
Which he continues to try to do.
I mean, we saw Dak line up, and it looked like a 3-by-1 set, which, granted, I don't have, like, coach's film, but he's in the shadow of his own end zone, throws a 10-yard hitch route that's got some heat. Like, I never see anything look that easy for Mac, ever.
Well, and part of the problem, I think, with Mac, too, is because I have seen him step into throws and fit a couple in tight window. He did one today, I think, to Hunter Henry. But too many times, Mike, he's on his back foot falling away from the throw.
Yeah.
And that's when the arm strength, to me, is illustrated, because he doesn't have the arm to throw off platform. And I'm not just talking about running around trying to make something happen.
No.
I'm saying when the pocket's a little uneasy and he has to sort of throw it without stepping into it. I listen, Zappe didn't do anything when he came in, but I do think he handled the rush better. I thought he moved around the pocket better than Mac did.
Yeah, Mac gets antsy way too quick, and they don't have any quick-hitting receivers, as you guys have said time and time again. And when there's a muddy pocket, they just have no answers. Not even pass rush like you're going to get sacked, but just a muddy pocket where they can't answer it. And that's how the NFL is today.
Thanks for the call, Tommy. We appreciate it. We just watched a couple of Zappe completions there. Well, that last one was not a completion. So more toe drag drills coming up in practice this week. But the first one, that's the type of zip and that's the type of arm strength that doesn't get talked about enough. But Paul mentioned it. Has nothing to do with how far down the field you can throw the ball. It's that zip on the 10 to 15 yarders that, and I'll give credit to the receivers for being able to hit, being ready for him, because they're probably not used to balls like that coming from Mac Jones in practice, and certainly not during the games. So, but they are used to it from playing at a high level in college, and
I do think that's part of the reason why they're not making any plays after catches, Mike. Because it takes so long for the ball to get there.
Yeah.
I just more stuff off of Twitter.
Yes, please.
Dietrich Wise.
Yes.
Says it's devastating to lose Matthew Judon. Quote, we'll be with him mentally throughout this year, and I know he'll be with us too. There'll be some guys behind him who will be stepping up and filling into his spot. And then Doc Flynn, quote, tweeted, he said, not very well the first time. The MRI is to confirm a diagnosis already highly suspected. So I think that the Patriots feel like he tore his bicep.
I got a report from outside the locker room a few minutes ago that Wise had let the cat out of the bag, but without any more information, so I didn't share it here. But now it seems like he's talking. So, okay. What else you want to do?
I was just going to respond to his question about playing the young guys in 21, and I was just going to say no, because I don't think there was anybody there that was good enough to warrant being played, or if we had played Chase Winovich more, he'd be out there now playing significant
roles. Go back
roles.
to the youth movement. Nice, nice, Mike.
But I just, that's we're going to spend the next however many weeks dissecting how we got to this point, and I remain an ardent believer that it's the draft whiffs and the fact that you just never found star players.
That's first on the list. Mike's been on this for 2 years. That's first on the list. You had 2, 3, maybe even 4 draft classes that you got very little out of.
Especially at the top, where look what Gonzalez did. Like, imagine if you got contributions from your first-round picks in 2019, 2020, 2021. I mean, I guess Mac did. So, but 2022, certainly you didn't. If you had gotten a Gonzalez-level contribution from a wide receiver, from a left tackle, from a pass rusher maybe, you wouldn't be this team right now. But they missed on all those guys, and that's why they're here.
Right, and the other part that I would say dovetails into that, and it's less you can't point to it. Mike has specific draft pick misses that you can say, Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, N'Keal Harry. You can point to these guys and say they should be the nucleus of your team, and they're not, right? That's unarguable. Inarguable. I don't know. No. Anyway, words are hard. What's you can't really prove it.
Foot.
The paw. It's a sin, ma. What you can't really say definitively is something I feel pretty strongly about, and that's I think Bill sets up and constructs his offense in a certain way that I think is no longer viable.
Yeah.
And I don't think that N'Keal Harry was his pick because, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I think he felt like N'Keal Harry was the most well-rounded of the wide receivers.
Blocks.
Can block, physical.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Can he get open? Can he separate? Can he catch the ball? And the answer to 2 of those 3 questions was no.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could catch the ball. I think he had pretty good hands.
Yeah.
But he didn't get open. He didn't separate.
Well, the thing too is like, when a new coach or GM comes to a team, there's some time where he's got to get his team in place. You got to let him get his guys in. I mean, we've had 4 seasons of. I mean, this is the team. Like, we shouldn't still be waiting for development to happen. This is supposed to be the team. And after last year, it's impossible. Like, it feels impossible to say, but it feels like it's kind of the same thing.
Can I say something else too? Because I know this is going to happen.
We have time.
They didn't lose because of turnovers today. Believe me, I know how crippling the 2 turnovers were. They both directly resulted in touchdowns, right? They didn't lose because of turnovers today. That game was declaring as a shootout. Early in the game, the other team's offense was cooking, and you were going to have to keep up. And you were not going to be able to, in my opinion.
Well, the turnovers came as a result of trying to do that, not because you were just having turnovers.
It was only 10-3, but like – I understand that you can directly point and say, well, it went from 10-3 to 18-3 to, it's not why you lost.
No.
It's not why you lost. You turned it over 3 times. That's not why. That's why you got blowed out, as Emmitt Smith would say. We'll bring it back to Dallas. That's why the game wasn't competitive, because you turned the ball over 3 times. But I do not like the Patriots' chances in a game that starts that way. I don't.
Never.
Until I see something different with the way they play offense, I'm not going to feel they can match scores with teams.
But that's
good teams.
But that's also look. Whether it's Ezekiel Elliott saying you got to take care of the ball better, or it's an analyst. I understand that ball security is paramount, and you want to separate the 2. But that's also part of your offense. If part of your offense results in either interceptions or fumbles or whatever, you can't separate the 2. You can't just say, God, if we just held onto the ball, we were executing. Sorry, they're connected.
I think, and I didn't get a good look on Twitter, but I think, remember I said, like, who was with Taylor Swift? I think it was Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah. I saw Ryan Reynolds, too.
So, yeah. Sign me up. You don't find her attractive?
I don't know who Blake Lively is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know the name.
That I'll accept.
Who is she?
That I'll accept.
She used to do that show, Gossip
Girl.
Can I look her up?
What is the
She was in one
Sisterhood
where
of the
she was
Traveling
like a
Pants?
surfer.
What is that movie?
That's it.
Surfer.
Yeah.
Oh, Point Break?
No,
is she Bodie?
She got like chased by a shark in it. Not Jaws.
Okay.
Not Jaws.
Oh, God.
But it looked kind of cool. Not the Meg.
Not Meg.
There's another one. It's like she gets stuck on a rock and it's like the tide's coming in.
Oh, Castaway.
No.
No, she's not Tom Hanks.
No.
She's got the beard. And
I know the movie
I'm
you're
giving you
talking
the
about now,
Zoe
but I
treatment.
can't
I know her.
I know you. I know you.
I know her.
She's pretty.
She's
pretty.
She's pretty lady.
Welcome to the Blake Lively portion of the postgame show.
Well, I mean,
what else
are we
you wanna
gonna
talk about?
are we just going to spend
The Shallows.
I just want to
In
get.
the
We're getting some appreciation
Not
though
movie.
that we're at least being entertaining here on the postgame show.
Is she
Where else?
dating-
we
Is she
can
dating
kill him
Ryan
for 2 straight
Reynolds?
hours if you want. But
Is she dating Ryan Reynolds?
No, they're
No,
married.
they're
They have children.
married with children.
They
Oh, good
procreated.
for
It's
good
actually
for him.
seemingly, now I don't, you never know, but it's seemingly one of the rare celebrity marriages that seems legit.
Do you think Taylor Swift's going to turn more people against the Chiefs or for the Chiefs? I guess for the Chiefs because all the Swifties are for the Chiefs
Jack,
now. But what about
who
the
own
anti-
Chiefs?
Who owns?
I would say more for
For.
them because I think there are
A lot more
an
Swifties than
incredible amount of-
anti-Swifties?
There's an incredible amount of Swifties out there.
She
Oh,
better
she's
come
gonna
to
get, she's going to
Gillette.
get liquored up, too.
Who's that moon-faced fat body standing next to her?
That's
there?
me. Oh, sorry.
I'm guessing one of her security guards.
I'm not.
Is that
Mike.
Matthew Stafford, like 2015?
There's nothing wrong with moon-faced folks. All right, we have
Your boy Stafford came through for me today.
Yeah, well, he's all right. All right, let's go to
Rogers.
somebody here. Cruin in South Carolina. Cruin, thanks for holding. You're on the this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show, which is presented by DraftKings. What do you got for us, Cruin?
Hey, appreciate you guys. Listen to the show all the time, and honestly, have never called in, but the loss tonight just hit different. Just wanted to get your opinion. You kind of brought this up in a few different ways. We talked about how the strength of the schedule, there's nothing really out there that we can pencil in. We talk about the injuries. What does it look like going forward in the worst case scenario when you start talking about like full-blown rebuilds? Like you see unsuccessful attempts at it every year, but then you see teams like the Bengals who actually did it and have seen some success. Just trying to get your opinion on it.
Yeah. Get in the top 5 in the right year and make sure you get the right guy.
Yeah. What I hate is that's not the way to do it because there's so many misses. Yeah, I get it. If I know that the guy I'm going to take is not going to work, I don't want to do that either. But what I have to do is hope that I make a proper evaluation and I get a chance to pick the guy I like. Like, whether it's Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever, you know, I don't know if Sanders is going to be Shedeur Sanders, if he's going to be in that mix. But if I know it's going to be, you know, Zach Wilson, yeah, I don't want to do it either.
Karuin, thanks for the call. Blake Lively was in The Town.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't,
okay, well,
my bad. I probably should have led with that.
You should have.
I intentionally went with the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, though.
She's terrible.
Coke.
She's terrible in it.
She had
she got the worst accent.
She had a bad Boston accent, but so does everybody else who's ever
know.
tried to do one in the movies. It's bad.
We smoked that to the filter.
The only one that was good was
Dirty.
What's the Casey Affleck? Is it
Gone
Baby
Girl.
Gone.
Gone Baby Gone. That's a good one.
Gone Baby Gone. The sister-in-law.
Oh, she's great.
I believe had a great
Amy
one.
Amy Ryan.
Is that Amy Ryan?
The mom who the mom of the kid who
the mom
who
of the
goes to
kid.
Smith.
Oh, so not the sister-in-law. Okay.
The mom of the kid is Amy Ryan.
She had a great Boston accent.
Great
actress.
actress.
Who's also Michael Scott's girlfriend in The Office.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Very good.
We're
bringing it all together here on the post.
Yeah,
just
we're
in
trying
time to wrap things up.
We're trying to entertain. We're trying
Thank
to
you for
entertain.
listening and watching. Oh no, we're just taking a break. We're still going to hear from the head coach, Bill Belichick. We're going to hear from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi.
Hey, someone got called for unsportsmanlike conduct on the opening kickoff of the Jets game.
He didn't kneel before Taylor Swift.
Oh no, it's the first play of the game.
Everyone salute her.
He didn't show his.
And now we will kick off.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's a little unsportsmanlike right there.
Sportsman would never do that.
Yeah, that's not very sporting.
That's not a good idea to give him a free 15 there.
Hey, just
what do you got?
Just real quick.
We're not taking a break, are we?
No. I just want to. I want to thank the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism and all the great memories that are made in Massachusetts. No matter how you choose to make them. Maybe you want to go inside. Maybe you want to go outside. Maybe you got scenic views. Maybe you got city vibes. Maybe you're by yourself. Maybe you got the family. Whatever moves you, whatever the season, plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway. People do love coming here. It is a tourist destination. Go to visitma.com.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in PC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Man, I wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not?
Dan Marino? You all right? 22.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
No one's calling Bill Belichick a clown, but I think what people are saying is maybe, his system is
clown adjacent.
I don't know.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Is Harrison Butker about to put the Chiefs on the board here and go up 3-0 against the Jets of New York?
A lot of red jerseys in that end zone, no?
I'll tell you something. Chiefs fans travel. Or people who bought Kelsey jerseys.
That's a win for the Jets, though, right there. You give up a cheap 15-yard penalty, and you hold them to 3.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. Monitoring the Sunday night football game as we continue on with this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show, which is presented by DraftKings. The Patriots suffered their worst loss of the Belichick era today in Dallas, 38-3, the final. Taking your phone calls here. We're going to hear from Bill Belichick and I almost said Tom Brady. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi later on, but we want to get to your phone calls first, starting with Grant in San Diego, or Grant in Santiago, as Bob Sosi would say. Grant, thank you for joining us. What's going on?
Hey, guys. This was the game for me. This is the game that took me over the edge, and, we're just not a winning football team. And Bill Belichick just malpracticed the bench Mac Jones. Just let him eat a big pile of garbage while he tries to, figure this thing out. But benching him and putting Bailey Zappi in, that only is going to stir up the media and make that a frenzy. The run defense was garbage. I just really can't for this right now. This was the game, and I want to know how you guys feel about it.
Okay, now I'm not going to say that won't happen, Grant, because someone in the media will say something about Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, Joe Murray will.
Specifically Joe Murray.
I think it potentially could have been a problem if Bailey Zappi went in and gave him a little bit of a spark, even in garbage time, but that didn't happen.
Right, but that didn't happen, and I don't Mac Jones, for or against, it was time to get him out. It wasn't working, and I don't think leaving him in, he was going to figure anything out in that game.
And I don't think
it was fine to put in anybody. Just stop doing this. He's going to get hurt, or he's just going to continue to do more damage, to his own game down the road by leaving him in there.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't think Bill really cares if he creates like a media problem, because I agree with the sentiment. I think by taking him out, you probably do open the door for something like that. But he's playing. Mac's the quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
and Bill has said as much in his. We'll hear his press conference here in a minute, but he's
I didn't hear that. But I don't. Yeah, I don't think Bill really cares how the media reacts. I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. How about Tony in Canada?
Oh yeah, I just saw Andy Hart. Oh yeah, is the plan to start Mac Jones? Yeah.
Tony in Canada, thanks for being on this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. Tony, what do you got?
Hi, guys. I called in earlier before the game, and I just want to clarify my point about the Patriots not making the playoffs. What I meant to say is that after I watched Buffalo and Miami play, I realized that we're just not on that level. They're on another level as far as offense goes.
I don't think you're wrong.
And I guess my question is, do you think football, the game of football, has really changed to the point where, Bill Belichick, the way he builds his team, trying to win on defense and special teams, it's a thing of the past, and that's why I was so negative. I just don't see the Patriots building the kind of team that will be able to compete with these teams, and I think maybe football has changed enough so that it's a thing of the past. That's why I was so negative at the beginning.
Well,
but that's the question I want to ask you guys. Has football changed enough that Belichick's way of building a team is really outdated and just can't compete with the high-flying offenses of today? That's it, guys.
I think that's part of it, and that's what I was alluding to before the break when Mike was talking about the drafts. And I think part of it goes part and parcel with that is what he thinks is important in the draft. And I do think there's an element that it's antiquated a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's missed on draft picks. I think he's missed on some free agent acquisitions. I don't think he's operating with a football personnel manual that was printed in the 70s, and he hasn't bothered to update it. I mean, we are talking about, I'll use his own words, a guy that was very, very successful up until just a few years ago. We're talking about in this century. Has the game of football changed so much since 2015, 16, 17? No, it hasn't changed all that much. But in the last 5-6 years, the personnel decisions have hampered this team to the point where it's not going to be an easy fix. And, yeah, there's probably some element of some, let's just say, a little older school thinking going on that is preventing them from making some big changes in some key areas that are also kind of holding the team back right now.
Yeah, well, and let's take the personnel building philosophy out of it. Like, let's not even talk about who he's drafted or what he might want to build a team. Like,
okay,
does this look like one of the best coached teams in the NFL? Like, regardless?
Excellent point. No, it's beyond the personnel. It's just it's offense, defense, special teams, 3 phases, like he always says. Well, I mean, yeah, we had a really good special teams play earlier this year. We've also seen some gaffes that are not supposed to happen on the best coached teams.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that is just not as good as it has been around here, and there's probably a variety of reasons. It's not great for sports talk to say the answer probably lies somewhere in the gray areas in the middle, and a little bit of explanation comes from a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
But I do believe that's the case. And, the result is what you saw tonight, a team that is less than average to begin with, or, maybe on the cusp of being a good team, suffer their worst loss in decades, and a team that might in fact be a bad team, hopefully at their lowest point. That's what we saw tonight.
Yeah.
But this is part of, that was really bad because they never did anything good for 60 minutes. That's not all that different. The way the game unfolded wasn't all that different than a lot of the other games that they've lost in the last 4 years.
Just snowballed a little more.
This one snowballed and there was no pushback.
Yeah.
I'd like to say this wasn't like at Kansas City week 4 of 2014 where just out of nowhere you lose 41-14. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And even that game caused a lot of people, myself included, to take a step back and say, is it over?
Is it over?
Yeah. Is it over?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I thought it was over because I didn't, but I gave it thought. This game,
I said it was over.
This game that they played tonight, like I said, the only difference is they didn't mount a couple of meaningless second half touchdown drives to make it, to lose 38-17.
That's why I like it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They lost this game. They lost this game in Buffalo in the playoffs.
And that's just what I've just.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's when they've
developed lost like this before.
Yeah, an appreciation for these games of you always admire the effort at the end, but in some ways it's like I want to walk out of this game and I want to say it's 38-3, and that is what it is. It's not like, well, it was 38-29, and they had a couple, and you have to. this is what it was. It was an ass kicking, and there's no other way to kind of get around it. And I think like the truth and the reality of that is in some ways a little bit easier just from where I sit and where we have to deal with this week. Everybody wants to know, what are they going to do? What's going to change? Who's going to get fired? Do they bench Mac? All the questions we're going to have to face. It's a lot easier when it's just cut and dry with a loss like this, I feel like.
CJ in Maryland up next on this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings. CJ, thanks for holding. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just kind of feel disillusioned in a way with Mac because I think Deuce has said in the past about how often can we use the excuses of the O-line and the receivers. Like, I was a big Mac supporter. I defended him at work, like, having funny conversations with my coworkers. But, like, I know it might be just speaking in the moment, but I just want to get your opinions on, for Mac fans to be disillusioned. I don't think Mac's the guy now, or I'm not sure about Zappy, but thanks for taking my call, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks, CJ.
I just think the thing with Mac was that you couldn't have this game out of him. I'm generally speaking, not specific to this game. This couldn't happen. Like, of course, it does happen sometimes, but with someone like him, I think what was keeping him as the option, I guess, in our minds is what Paul said. It's like he hasn't won a game, he hasn't lost us a game yet, and so I think what the caller's going through is this is the first time you kind of feel like Mac lost the game, and I think at this point we're all sitting here wondering, where's that big win? Where's that, comeback at the end? I mean, we're watching all kinds of games go on in the 1 o'clock hour, and you're seeing quarterbacks like Sam Howell, make key plays we haven't seen it. And this is our third year with the guy at quarterback, so it's fair to say, does he have that in him? And, of course, now this happens where you have 3 turnovers, 2 of them go for touchdowns. It's as bad as it can possibly get. We'll see. This is a major hurdle for him.
That's why I loved Hardy's point about, you watch some of these other teams that the Patriots are going to play, and Washington's a great example. I'm telling you right now, 0% of the Patriots media is expecting them to lose to Washington.
Right.
Washington scores points every game but one.
Yeah.
They score points in bunches. And if they have one of those days where they play well offensively against you, you can't win.
Nope.
Isaiah Pacheco is in the open.
Does anyone run crazier than Isaiah Pacheco?
He looks like he tries to hurt the field.
Yeah, right?
With his feet.
That's a good way to put it. Yep. Oh, Taylor's happy. Taylor's happy.
Washington,
So's Paul.
Washington put up 31.
Hey, girl.
Hello, Blake.
Washington put up 31 points today in a loss. The only team they didn't score, as you just said, Paul, was against Buffalo.
Yeah, they got blown out last week against Buffalo when Howell sort of turned into a pumpkin. He had a bunch of sacks and turnovers.
They hung 35 on the Broncos. Oh, the Broncos scored 33 on them. I mean, in a game where the defense isn't as good or isn't supposed to be as tight as the Jets defense, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference for the Patriots. I don't see any rhythm and flow from their offense that you see even from other, let's say, struggling teams.
Yep.
Even struggling teams are able to, at times, like the Commanders, move the ball and put points on the board. The Patriots have scored 50 in 4 games, and that's not all the offense.
It's like the teams that you...
I'm sorry, Paul. No, how many points have the offense scored in these four games? And the 50 points the Patriots have put up on the board in these 4 games...
Yeah, I mean, -2 for the safety, but, pretty much all the others were, But, like Mike said,
pick six in there.
It was for the Patriots?
Yeah, wasn't there?
No.
What's that?
No.
I thought week 1 there was. Okay.
No, they gave up a pick 6.
Yeah, right.
But, like the so-called wins.
Yes.
Right? Like to Hardy's point, Denver, 16 points in the opener, 33, 20, 31. So that's twice they're over 30. If that happens to be a week that you play him, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Unless something changes, obviously.
Right.
I'm just looking down.
I mean, just read
the Indianapolis Colts. Again, rookie quarterback, 21, 31, 22, 23. Like, they're not getting, 3. They're not getting, they're putting up some offense in these games. And I just think, again, these are the easy games.
And the Patriots, 20, 17, 15.
Now the
3.
the Raiders and the Saints are two teams that they've basically been in the teens every week. So that's why I call them coin flips.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the head coach, Bill Belichick, after today's 38-3 loss to the Cowboys in Dallas. Here's Bill Belichick.
All right. Well, we obviously didn't do much of anything well enough to, be competitive tonight. So at this point, I think we're a lot better team than what we showed out there tonight. But that's what we showed, and that's what it was. So got a lot of work to do. Got to do a better job playing, coaching. Just got to perform better. So there's really not much to say.
Bill, why do you believe you're a better team than 1-3 that just lost by 35?
Yeah, I say we're better than we were today.
Why do you believe that?
Last 3 games we played.
Bill, what led to the decision to take Mack out with 3:41 remaining in the third quarter?
Yeah, I don't think there was any point leaving him in the game.
And will he be starting next week against the Saints?
Yeah, I just said there's no point leaving him in the game, Mike.
In that sense, I mean, do you consider taking like
No.
Judon out on the other side, or at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to put somebody out there.
So, Bill, was he benched for bad
No.
performance, or was he pulled because?
No, I said there was no point leaving him out there, so I took him out. Yeah.
I mean, the plan is to continue to start Matt going forward.
Yeah. I didn't think there was any point leaving him out there, so I took him out.
Any early level of concern you can share regarding the injuries to both Judon and Gonzalez?
Yeah, we'll see.
How much did the Gonzalez injury affect you early? I mean, it obviously happened early, and you're thin at corner. You're a thin at corner to begin with injuries.
Yeah, well, that's obvious.
Did it change how you wanted to play defensively?
Yeah, of course.
What do you account for Mac's poor performance, even if that wasn't what got him benched? He just his first game.
I just said we didn't do anything well enough as a team. So that includes everybody. Coaches, players, offense, defense, special teams. So it wasn't anything that was good enough.
Couple final questions. Bill, what did you think of Mac's decision-making today?
I don't think any of us played or coached well enough to be competitive today. Just everybody.
How concerned are you about Mac's confidence? And is there anything you need to talk with him about? Just
No, I think we need to go out and play well. All right.
Okay, good stuff.
Sorry, he does not like to be questioned.
No.
Like his decisions, I mean.
No.
You took him out, what? There was no point of putting him in. Well, did you think about doing that with anybody else?
Got to play
Like,
somebody.
I mean, is that an unfair question?
No.
And I understand people are going to glom onto the fact that Judon got hurt in garbage time. But isn't that why you take your frontline players out of games that are no longer in question?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think you would have said we're taking out the one who's hurting our chances to win the game. That's the reality, and he walks this line because he just wants to deflect it to the whole team instead of, I mean, the truth is Mac played like crap. Judon was still in there and playing well, but he's not going to come out and say, I pulled Mac because he was playing like crap. He's
Right.
going to say none of us did enough to win.
The truth is exactly what Mike just said. It had at least a little to do with performance.
And, for Bill to say he doesn't think they're as bad as, what they played tonight, and they said, what do you point to? And he said, well, the last 3 games, which is kind of what we said earlier. I think you're seeing this team. I hope you're seeing this team at their lowest point. I don't think that tonight was the best representation of what this team is, but also, the other 3 games you're talking about, you barely won one against a team that has no offense, and you lost the other 2. So how much?
I would argue that the other 2 games, again, the difference was they showed fight at home and mounted second half scoring drives.
Right.
The first half of the first two games were very similar to the first half tonight. It was. I mean, you weren't ready to play offensively at the start of the game.
I mean, without the pick six and the fumbles, it's the same game. Like I said, it when they fall into the 10-point hole before the turnovers even started.
It's 10-3, and he gets strip sacked from behind for a touchdown. You know, that's a huge play, and I'm not dismissing that play. It was a huge play in the game, but again, the game declared. Dallas was going to play good offense today. They moved the ball at will all day, and I don't know if you're equipped to keep up.
I would say they're not.
Let's go on to the phones here, and we'll talk to Kevin in San Francisco before we hear from the quarterbacks tonight from the Patriots. Kevin, what do you have for us?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey.
So it's funny. I was sitting down watching the game. My wife came in and saw the score and was wondering why I hadn't thrown my beer through the TV at this point. And I think it's because I basically, it's kind of the grief stage. I've just come to accept this for what it is. And I'm getting to the point now where the last couple of years, you know, you guys have talked about, a lot of people have talked about it, and I've questioned about Bill the GM and what's that doing to his legacy. And now I think it's Bill the coach is as much detracting away from his legacy as Bill the GM. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, guys, but I'm kind of looking for a no salve on this and just let's see this thing dive and press the reset button on a lot of areas.
No.
Thanks.
I mean, that's kind of the point I made last, where it's not a well-coached team. I mean, I don't think anybody, you know, I always think that in sports, if you have a really good coach and the team is really bought in, that they'll play above their weight, you know, whatever that might mean. And I don't feel like this team's played above their weight in a long time. I feel like they've played actually below their weight a lot. And certainly tonight, I felt like it was still below their weight. I mean,
there was no pushback tonight at all.
35 points. I mean, and it got away quick. And then to come out in the second half, more of the same, you know, it's just, I don't know. There's not a lot of feeling for me right now that this is operating like a team that is like a well-oiled machine that's focused on winning. And, you know, I mean, at times it feels like they're more concerned with other stuff. And it's not, I think the proof is in the pudding in what we're seeing on the field.
Chad in Atlanta. Hello, Chad.
Whoa.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah. What do you got for us, Chad?
Got a walkie-talkie.
Man, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
You couldn't write a more horrific horror story. You lose your starting corner that's been amazing, going up against the top talent in the NFL. And then in garbage time, you lose one of your best, you know, rushers in Judon. It's just terrible. I mean, I think I don't want to harp on it too long and you know, start the, you know, get rid of Bill train. I mean, I've kind of been on that since like 2020. I don't even know what you could have really done, to be honest, as far as like after Brady left, but I would have hoped for something better than what we've seen for the past 3 years.
All right, Chad, I'm gonna let you go. Your phone is too
I just
there.
would say, and we don't have to get in depth on it now, but I just would say I'm with Mike in that. What else they could have done? They could have gotten some better players to go around the quarterback who's not Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's get a number one receiver. Let's get some players that, wow, there's a lot of green space there. Chiefs are just having, well, there's a flag on the play. Who knows? But, you know, get a number one receiver. You know, surround your guy that you think might have some potential with playmakers and see how good he can be with talent around him. Now, I personally don't think you'd feel that much better. That's my feel, is I think he's average. But in his defense, I'm going to play the Mac side. And you guys might call me Teflon Mac, that what I always make fun of people about. All the stuff that people do say is valid. Like, they don't have a number one receiver. They rely on perfection to score. It's got to be, you know, these drives that just perfect here, perfect there, and we can convert on third down. That's a hard way to play. Brady was excellent at it. The guy we're watching with Kansas City tonight is excellent at it. You know, not a lot of guys can do that. It's a hard way to play.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that, Paul, is I know you're not saying to just start with Mac, but I go back further than that. I don't give him a pass on what happened with the Cam Newton era here.
Oh,
either.
I don't give him a pass. He's not getting the players. He's still acting like Tom Brady's the quarterback.
Right, and I say it even starts before. And you're absolutely right. You got to put the pieces around Mac Jones.
Yeah.
This is the formula. You know, when you have a rookie quarterback, a guy who in his first year looked like he was the best out of that class. All right, what do you do to help him out in the next year and the next year? Well, so far not
Zippo.
much. And, all the other guys who have succeeded, you can point to the top-tier talent, the top-tier targets that those quarterbacks have to throw to. Here in New England, that's not the case. But I even go back the year before that. Your post-Tom Brady plan was Cam Newton.
Yeah.
It starts there. Everything we talk about, with regard to this team is post-Tom Brady, and it starts there, and it's mostly on the offense. And that's – I'm sorry, you can't leave that part out.
I totally agree.
All right. Dave in New Hampshire. Hello, Dave. Thanks for joining this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show. What do you got?
Guys. Hey, listen, I just want to say one word. When we talk about Brady, when we talk about Mac, when we talk about what's going on, the word I want to say is fierce. There is a guy who we have on the practice squad who showed me fierce in the first preseason game when they ripped his helmet off, and he was scoring a drive, and this is the only excitement I've seen all year from this offense, and he has fierceness. And we don't have fierceness at the leadership position in quarterback, nor have we had it for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And we did have it with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, this guy, if we ever let him go and he gets a chance somewhere else, we're going to seriously regret it. We've got to get that guy off the practice squad and give him some time on this team as a QB.
Okay.
I assume you're talking about Malik Cunningham?
Yeah, it's
you guys can do that on your time.
No.
He's not even a quarterback.
He's not even really a quarterback. And I how about this? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how the offense needs to play tough. Offense needs to be tougher. It gets applied to the defense, sometimes special teams, but this offense does not play with hardly any toughness whatsoever, starting with the quarterback. We're looking at, some of the mistakes made tonight. Someone else just posted a throw on a 1st and 10 where Mac moved up in the pocket and threw it at the feet of his intended receiver. I mean, it's the play I'm talking about?
Yes. He was visibly, I think the entire game, he was visibly affected by the rush.
Right, and it's the furthest thing from tough. I'm not saying toughness is going to win you a bunch of football games, but it would be something to see this team go out there and somehow figure out a way to assert itself on offense other than running Ezekiel Elliott smack dab into the middle of the line. So far, that's the only thing they show that might be tough. And it's not smart. It doesn't result in a lot of big gains.
Yeah.
But there's nothing else that this offense is doing that is.
There was one to
there's nothing aggressive.
There was one to Parker too, where he's kind of coming across and
Wide
Mac
open.
just like I don't.
That's the play. Thank you. That was the play. We just saw it.
But just play it again.
Here we
got
go.
A little pressure.
Step up and
that one was bad.
What are we?
Yeah. By the way, again, you guys tell me that it's okay to compare how other teams do against the teams. So you're seeing what a good offense does to a good defense with the Kansas City just putting 17 like a blink in the first quarter of a game because they're vastly superior offensively. And even if you're good defensively, there's only so much you can do.
Yep.
All right, you want to get to the quarterback here? We'll hear from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Let's talk to or hear from Mac first. Here he is.
We got Patriot quarterback Mac Jones as well. Here's Mac.
Mac, how do you sort of explain what unfolded out there today?
Yeah, I think for me, just not good enough. Wasn't my day. Can't turn the ball over like that and try and be a good team. So definitely a lot to learn from. Definitely disappointed in myself. I feel like I can play a lot better, and I have to beat good teams.
Do you know what your starting status is going forward? Are you concerned? What do you think this week will be like for you?
I think it'll be a good test, just for me, just trying to stay focused on what I can control, and that's playing better. So just got to evaluate everything, and it wasn't my day today. Hopefully there's better days ahead.
Mac, even though the point total hadn't escalated, it felt like you guys in the first 3 weeks were on a positive track offensively.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you reset to zero? Like, how does that work?
I think for me, just bury it, try to learn from it, and move on, and just don't make it turn into another loss. My rookie year didn't start off great, and we just kept working, and I just tried to play better, and that's what I have to do here, and it's got to be a lot better by me.
Does it feel like a low point personally?
It depends on how you look at it. I think for sure, I'm very competitive, and I put a lot into it, and I feel really bad. Let my team down, let the coaches down, the whole organization, everybody, the fans. So we got a great fan base, and I got to put a better product out there to beat good teams. So I'm going to take the positive route as best I can, and hopefully it brings the best out of me.
Mac, with all respect, when someone says just wasn't my day, this seemed, from the perspective of people watching, to be so much more than that, as opposed to just being a bad day. Is there some way you can do a complete reset? What will you do during the week to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, I think just focus on the basic fundamentals of football, and it really just wasn't a great day. I'm not going to let it carry over to the next week. It's going to be done after I watch the film. So definitely disappointed, but at the end of the day, I'm going to keep grinding, and hopefully, the guys will come with me. And it's hard, right, for me to sit up here and say that. I'm very disappointed in myself, but I got to bounce back.
Why do you think there's such a gap between what you and the team think you can do and the results on the field so far through 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a frustrating part for me and everybody. It's just, as a quarterback, you have to play better. Every team that's winning right now, their quarterbacks are playing really well, so need to do better. And at the end of the day, it's all about execution on Sunday. So you can put as much into it as you want, but I just have to put a better product out there.
What was the message from the coaching staff when you came out of the game?
Honestly, we just keep that to ourselves, and I do think that we have to move forward. That's very important, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of just putting your head down and going to work.
You're a team captain. What makes you believe you have the support of your teammates and the coaching staff?
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the biggest things. You take a lot of pride in that as one of the leaders of the team, and as a leader, I have to play better, first of all. But I feel like I made progress this year so far, and just not today. Definitely took a bunch of steps back. So for me, just continue to be Mac and try to put a better product on Sunday.
Was there anything that happened in practice this week that can sort of explain what happened on Sunday?
Actually, we had a good week of practice. We had a good 2 days, so just honestly, just got to be better.
Anything you can share just from what went wrong on the 2 turnover plays? Just maybe you didn't feel the guy coming behind you, or the throw going across your body. Just anything you can share.
I'll have to watch the film and see what I can do better, but definitely not going to beat anybody good when I'm turning it over like that. So, thank you.
All right, there he goes, Mac Jones, who today his team, the New England Patriots, suffered their worst loss during the Bill Belichick era, the 38-3 loss to the Cowboys in Dallas. You had something there briefly, Mike?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
He did look like he had something. He was pointing.
Like,
he was using his
loss.
laser pointer to point something.
Mac Jones was 12 of 21 for 150 yards, 2 interceptions. So, quarterback rating of 14.8.
Don't forget that fumble, too.
And the fumble. Thank you very much for bringing that up. How long is Bailey Zappi? Does Bailey Zappi say anything of consequence?
Does he say anything like derogatory about anybody?
Yeah, that's what we need to know.
But the Mac Jones situation is he didn't play well today, but in any phase. Like I don't think he read the coverage as well. I don't think he handled the rush well. I don't think he threw accurately, and mental, like the mental mistakes, like throwing across his body again. Like in that regard, I agree with him. It was a really bad day for him. Like I don't think that was indicative of his career. But the performance overall by the team against a quality opponent is not that different.
Yeah.
This was rock bottom, hopefully. This was rock bottom from what we've seen because they didn't have any pushback at all. But we've seen these big deficits, Mike, in the first half. Today it just got worse, whereas they generally are able to keep fighting and keep swimming. But today they didn't.
By the way, Bill and Mac brought to you by Microsoft. A big thank you to Microsoft Surface, official sideline technology provider and laptop of the NFL. And the Patriots provides players and coaches with the tools to succeed on and off the field. Check out the powerful Surface Pro 9. Combines the power of a laptop with the flexibility of a tablet. Surface.com. What I'd like to do is 3 more phone calls, and then we'll put a bow on this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show. Can we do that? Everybody down?
Let's do it.
All right. We'll go to Toronto, Florida, and Atlanta in that order, starting with Jason in Toronto. What's up, Jason?
Hey, long-time fan here. I just got a weird question, actually. We actually, on the first drive of the game, we kind of threw the ball down the field to the tight ends and got down to the red zone. And then we kind of got away from that. I want to know what your guys' input was on that because we were getting some yards. We were getting some chunk plays.
They got one chunk play.
When we got into the red zone, we kind of just slugged it out and then just tied the game. Why didn't we get more aggressive on that?
Yeah, there's two things real quick. They had a 42-yard play on that drive, which got them down there. Yep. They didn't have chunk plays. They had a chunk play. Demario Douglas made a great move after the catch.
Yep.
And got them down close. They inched it close to the goal line, and Mac missed an open Mike Gesicki in the end zone. I thought Gesicki had a chance to make a one-handed catch. Was a little bit overthrown. He didn't get it. Any thoughts from you guys? It's kind of went – we didn't really talk about it live. It was 4th and 1. Take the field goal and tie the game there, or did you guys think – maybe that was a little too cut. Now they wound up getting either a false start or a delay a game on the field goal, and they ended up getting pushed back 5 yards. But
in hindsight, you're not getting back to this part of the field.
But did you think at the time, 4th and 1, they should probably be thinking about going for this?
At that point, I was still optimistic, and so I was just saying,
I never even gave it a thought. I'm not going to be.
Yeah,
I'm not giving it 20/20 hindsight. I never even gave it a thought.
I tell you what, you go back. This has been going on with the Patriots for a long time, even back to Tom Brady. Looked great on the opening drive. 8, 10, 12 plays, march down the field, scripted. Great week of practice. You heard Mac Jones say it. Great couple of days of practice because all those plays are scripted coming out of the gate.
Except and then once the drive really consisted of one broken play. Yeah. This is where I'm like,
and the drive wasn't even that good.
Right.
Thank you, Paul.
It was like my accidental offense. Yeah. The two receivers banged into each other, and that allowed Douglas to get in. No one covered him.
Right. And once you get past that first drive and you get that one chunk play, and the other team comes out and says, okay, we've seen this now, we've seen that, and things, you settle into the game, then it was over. That was it. That was all you had.
Like, they didn't even get a first down after this play. This gets you down like the 15-yard line.
And that was it.
The drive, so I liked that they came out throwing. That's what I called for. That was the key to the I thought that was the key to the game. It was to don't just line up and try to run Zeke on first down all day.
Right.
It ain't going to work. And by the way, did you happen to catch the rushing totals? 2.1 for Stevenson, 2.7 for Elliott.
Wow.
Nothing. They got nothing.
They have no running game at all.
Nope. 53 yards.
But the only guy feeling good after this game is Cole Strange.
Well, my knee doesn't feel so great, but I'm all right.
Charles in Florida. Charles, thanks for joining us. What's up?
Well, I kind of think they missed the boat with this Jake Dolegala kid about 2 years ago because he's torching secondaries in the CFL right now. And
what could have been?
The thing is, they're not doing that. They're not doing that well. But he threw for 409 yards in this last game, this past Friday.
Oh, you're serious?
I think I'm serious.
Okay,
you guys, you need to take a look at him on YouTube. I mean, the guy is
okay. All right, thanks, Charles.
I think he could carry this team.
All right, thank you, Charles.
Yeah. So Malik Cunningham and Jake Dolegala. Those are our missing pieces.
Okay. And now we will wrap up this episode of the Patriots Postgame Show with Dre in Atlanta. Hello, Dre.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Charles is a victim of. Doesn't this kind of feel like we're all stuck in a bad marriage right now?
Yep.
It's like abuse every week. it's time for a change and a drastic change. I just got a suggestion.
Okay.
I just feel like Robert Kraft should offer Brady the GM job and mix it up, stir it up, man. You know, he knows football 20 years. He's the greatest ever, man. We got to do something. We got to make a change. I'm just tired of this abuse.
All right.
He's always burnt.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
I do just feel like listen to Mac. It's the same thing. Like the game unfolds the same way. The little we have to be better. We will. Like the same little speech. It wasn't good enough. We have to It's just I think everybody's getting sick of hearing the same old song and dance. They see it on the field. The guys get up there after the game. They say the same thing at the podium. They'll say it this week. We got to be better. We got to do this. We got to do that. At this point now, you're up against. You have to produce. You have to win. I mean, next weekend, you're basically playing to preserve the season at this point.
Yeah. Bill didn't do himself any favors in his post game, but he doesn't any week. I'm sorry, though. Once we get the Jake Dolegala of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders call, followed up by hire Tom Brady as the GM,
the key
he's
to
going to leave
success
whatever
is
he's
to
doing.
use a wide receiver at quarterback and to take a CFL guy.
And to get the billionaire away from his life, which is probably pretty good right now. He's going to make $37 million a year starting next year, working 2 days a week in the booth for Fox. But you wanted to come in and work 14 hours a day every day of the year to be a GM of a football team. I think
they got some problems.
See that? Thank you very much. Have a good night, folks. That's how we do that.
Oh, boy.
Anything else?
I'm done.
Anything else?
I have nothing.
Okay.
Safety.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. We will be back on Sunday. We got a 1:00 home contest against the Saints of New Orleans.
Get down here. You got to see it.
So we'll be here for the pregame at 10:45 on Sunday morning. Until then, your final score for the final time, Patriots 3, the Cowboys of Dallas 38. That's more than 3. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.